My mother told me my father died quietly. No hospital room. No machines. No long goodbye. Just a phone call. She said it happened while he was working out of state. A sudden heart failure. Quick. Merciful. I remember standing in the kitchen, holding the edge of the counter, staring at the pattern in the tile like it might explain something. She didn't cry. Not then. She said grief hits everyone differently. I believed her. I was 19. I didn't know how lies sound when they're spoken gently. Before this story continues, if you listen to long, quiet stories about family, truth, and the moments that split a life in two, subscribe. This one doesn't rush. My father was a fixer. Not professionally. Instinctively. If a chair wobbled, he fixed it. If a drawer stuck, he fixed it. If something broke, he never replaced it. He learned it. When I was a child, I thought that meant he could fix everything. Arguments. Money. People. I was wrong. But I didn't know that yet. The day my mother told me the house felt too quiet. No television. No radio. No hum. Just her voice. Measured. Controlled. She told me where he was buried. A town I'd never been to. She said we didn't need to visit. He wouldn't want that, she said. That should have felt strange. But grief makes strange feel normal. I hung up. The room felt smaller. The walls leaned in. I realized something then. If my father was alive, then someone had lied to me. For years, my mother became careful, private. She didn't talk about the past much. I assumed that was pain. Now I know it was control. But back then I thought silence meant strength. The envelope came on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic. No warning. Plain paper. Official print. A bank logo I recognized immediately. I assumed it was junk until I saw the name, my father's name. Not estate of. Not late. Not late beneficiary. Just his name. Printed cleanly. Alive. I sat down slowly. My heart started beating in my throat. I read it again. Then again. Active account. Monthly activity. Recent transactions. I told myself it was a clerical error. Banks make mistakes. People don't come back from the dead. I laughed. Actually laughed. I said out loud, "This is stupid." I almost threw it away. That's how close the truth came to being buried again. I called the bank. My voice sounded normal. I asked calmly. They confirmed it. The account was real. Active. Updated monthly. I asked who was managing it. They said they couldn't disclose that. But they confirmed one thing. The account holder was alive. I hung up. The room felt smaller. The walls leaned in. I realized something then. If my father was alive, then someone had lied to me. For years, I didn't call my mother. Not that day. Not that week. Because deep down, I already knew. If I confronted her too soon, she'd explain it away. And I didn't want explanations. I wanted truth. I started paying attention. Really paying attention. The way she avoided certain questions. The way she changed the subject when my father's name slipped into conversation. The way she never mentioned the grave. Never visited. Never mourned publicly. I remember things differently now. How she discouraged contact with his side of the family. How she controlled mail. How she insisted everything be handled. I didn't see protection anymore. I saw management. Another statement arrived. Then another. Regular. Predictable. Someone was living carefully, not recklessly, which meant this wasn't chaos. It was planned. I blamed myself for not asking questions, for trusting too easily, for letting years disappear. But guilt is useless. It doesn't uncover truth. One night, I laid the statements out on the table. Dates, amounts, locations, patterns always reveal intent. And I was ready to look. I didn't rush. That was important. Rushing leads to noise, not answers. I spread the bank statements across the dining table like evidence at a crime scene. Dates, amounts, locations. At first, they looked ordinary. Rent, groceries, utilities, a quiet life. That alone told me something. Whoever was using this account wasn't hiding in panic. They were hiding with intention. I didn't rush. That was important. Rushing leads to noise, not answers. I spread the bank statements across the dining table like evidence at a crime scene. Dates, amounts, locations. At first, they looked ordinary. Rent, groceries, utilities, a quiet life. That alone told me something. Whoever was using this account wasn't hiding in panic. They were hiding with intention. I requested public records, property records, voter registration, utility hookups. It took days, then weeks. And then, there it was, my father's name, spelled correctly. Registered to a small rented house near the edge of town. Active utilities. Active residency. Alive. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. 12 years. That's how long my life had been built on a sentence that wasn't true. I didn't cry. Not yet. Shock doesn't cry. It freezes. People ask why I didn't confront my mother immediately. They think confrontation brings clarity. It doesn't. It brings defense. I needed her unprepared. I needed her honest. Memories rearranged themselves. Arguments I once blamed on stress, rules that felt protective. Her insistence on keeping things quiet, it all shifted. This wasn't grief. It was containment. She used to say some things are better left alone. I thought she meant pain. Now I understood. She meant exposure. I didn't tell anyone. Not friends. Not family. I drove alone. The closer I got, the quieter I became. I passed gas stations, small diners, faded signs. Every mile felt unreal. I parked across the street, waited. The house was small, plain, no car in the driveway. Then the door opened, and he stepped out. My father, older, slower, but unmistakable, alive, breathing, real. My hands shook. My throat tightened. I wanted to scream his name. I didn't. Because something heavier settled in. Anger didn't come first. Betrayal did. He walked to the store, chatted with the cashier, smiled. A normal life. While I mourned him. While my mother watched me mourn him, I followed him inside the store, stood behind him in line, close enough to hear his breathing. When he turned, recognition hit him instantly. His face drained of color. He whispered my name. Like it hurt. I didn't ask where he'd been. I didn't ask why he left. I asked one thing. Did you know she told me you were dead? He looked away. That answer told me everything. We sat in his car. He spoke quietly. Debt. Legal pressure. Threats he never explained fully. He said my mother told him disappearing was safer. For you, he said. That sentence made me angry. People always justify lies with love. I saw it then. This wasn't protection. It was control. She controlled the narrative, the money, the silence, and us. I drove back numb. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I needed to see her face when she realized the truth had nowhere left to hide. She didn't deny it. That's what surprised me. She sighed, sat down, and said I thought it was best. She always thought she knew best. She said she wanted peace, stability, a clean life. She said my father was chaos, and she chose order. At any cost. She never apologized. She never asked how it affected me. She spoke like a manager reviewing a decision. And that's when I understood. I wasn't part of the choice. Trust doesn't shatter loudly. It thins. It fades. It leaves quietly. And once it's gone, there's nothing left to explain. If this story feels heavy, that's because truth often is. Stay. The ending isn't loud, but it's honest. After the conversation ended, nothing dramatic happened. No shouting. No slammed doors. No tears. Just silence. The kind of silence that tells you something permanent has shifted. My mother went back to folding laundry, as if she hadn't erased a human being from my life, as if she hadn't rewritten my childhood. Anger didn't come that night. It came days later, while washing dishes, while driving, while standing in line at the grocery store. It arrived in waves, not explosive, heavy, exhausting. She didn't just lie about my father. She took My choice to grieve, honestly, my choice to ask questions, my chance to decide who he was to me. She decided for me and called it love. I stopped seeing her as my protector. I saw her as a person who valued control over connection, order over truth, peace over honesty. And once you see someone clearly, you can't unsee it. I wrote a letter to my younger self. It said he wasn't gone. You weren't abandoned. You were kept in the dark. I folded it and put it away. Some closure doesn't need witnesses. I met my father one more time, not for answers, not for forgiveness, but to reclaim agency. We talked like strangers, because that's what we were. He didn't fight hard enough to stay. He chose disappearance, even if encouraged, even if justified. He still left. Understanding doesn't erase responsibility. He didn't fight hard enough to stay. He chose disappearance, even if encouraged, even if justified. He still left. Understanding doesn't erase responsibility. I never told her I met him, not out of spite, but because she no longer controlled the narrative. She didn't need to know. That was the point. Control only works when secrecy survives. Once the truth exists, control collapses quietly. She could feel it. I could see it. She started explaining herself more, justifying small things. She knew something had shifted. She said, "I did everything for you." I said, "You did everything without me." That was the last argument we ever had. Family isn't who keeps you close. It's who respects your right to see clearly. Blood doesn't excuse manipulation. Love doesn't excuse erasure. Healing wasn't forgiveness. It was honesty with myself. It was allowing anger without letting it consume me. It was accepting that some adults fail quietly and children pay loudly. Months later, I noticed something. I stopped wondering, stopped replaying, stopped asking, what if? The story had ended. Not with justice, with understanding. Truth doesn't always arrive to fix things. Sometimes it arrives to end illusions. And endings are painful, but necessary. I visited my father's town one last time, didn't see him, just walked the streets, returned the years to where they belonged, and left them there. I don't define myself by what was hidden. I define myself by what I chose to see. That difference matters. Do you forgive her? Forgiveness isn't a requirement. Peace is, and peace came when I stopped needing answers from people who benefited from silence. It's not about death or deception. It's about what happens when someone decides your reality for you, and how powerful it is to take it back. If this story stayed with you, it's because somewhere you've questioned a truth you were handed. You're not wrong to question, and you're not alone. Some people lie to protect themselves. Some people disappear to escape responsibility. And some people grow up believing a story, until the truth finally asks to be seen.